Hi all, welcome back to our channel UiPath by Sujitha. In this video, I would like to share few details, differences on the compatibility options in UiPath Studio. So when creating a new automation project, you choose a compatibility mode that determines the runtime environment and framework, right? So would like to discuss and give you in-depth details on which one to choose and based on what. Okay, so make a note of, quickly make a note of what we are discussing in this video so that it will be helpful for you to refer during your interviews. Compatibility options in Studio. Can anyone tell me what we are going to discuss now? Sorry, I'm on Notepad, right? Okay. Yeah. Compatibility options. There's something called compatibility and language to be selected when we are creating a new project in Studio, right? Yes, we are talking about the same now and would like to see what are the differences and which one to use based on your use case. Okay. And for your information, let me just show you clearly what we are talking about. So when after opening your studio, when you want to create a process, there's something called compatibility and language. Got it? So this is what we are covering through this video now. Okay. Let me, yeah. Select a framework compatible with the operating system of your execution environment. Have you ever observed this, or maybe most of you people being automation developer might be leaving this default option as it is, right? So until we face any interview, we may not come across this, or until we face any compatibility issue when we are moving our code from one environment to other environment, or from one, maybe from our on-prem to automation cloud or so, then only we'll come across such issues, and then maybe that's the place where we actually concentrate on these compatibility modes and language of the project. Okay, so would like to cover that because many of you people asking on this, as in many of the organizations now the project migration is happening from on premises to UiPath automation cloud. So this is the most important topic which needs a clear definition and which needs a clear information being a automation developer. I'm just sharing this as the community license, right? So, and that's the reason I could see the latest one, Windows and cross-platform. So let's cover this first and then let's go to language. So maybe if you have the lower versions, you could see three different options here under compatibility. Windows Legacy, and cross-platform. Let's cover all these three now. Okay. Yes, let me cancel this. Yeah. So first one is Windows. This is the default option when you try to create a project or a process. So it uses .NET Framework, .NET 8 with Windows support. So this is best for automations that run on Windows machines specifically and interact with UI elements. This is what you should keep in your mind. So whenever you get such interview question, you should be able to answer in this way. So Windows compatibility mode is the default option and it uses .NET 8 with Windows support. Best for automations that run on Windows machine and interact with UI elements. Okay, let me give you an example. You build a process that uses UI automation activities like click, type into, right? And these kind of activities we use to interact with the desktop apps or desktop or any web applications or so, right? Or if you have a use case where you are using the desktop apps like Excel or SAP. Okay, so this is the most common choice for attended or unattended bots running on Windows. I hope I explained this clearly. So let me frame this out. So when you build UI automation activities like click, type into, or desktop apps like Excel, SAP. Okay, so yeah, and I said this is the most common choice for attended and unattended bots which should run in Windows. Okay, so this is what you should keep in mind. Now let's move to the other one, that is Windows Legacy. Okay, let's cover the same. So what it uses .NET framework, but with 4.6.1, that's older compatibility. Okay, and then to be frank, this is already deprecated, but developers who know this needs to get some clarity or the difference between these two, right? And that's the reason I'm sharing this. So it's already deprecated, not available in the new versions. Okay, so better to stop using this. Okay, and let me give the examples. So older projects, older projects which are created before the version 2021.10. Okay, use this mode. So later on, we are supposed to move that to Windows or cross-platform based on the use case. If you open such project in the latest studio, you'll be prompted to migrate it to Windows or cross-platform. So that's the reason I'm covering this here. Okay. So because being a UiPath automation developer, we could many a times we have developed our projects using Windows Legacy, right? If we would like to open the same project in the new version after this 2021.10 version, maybe in the latest versions, it will automatically prompt us to migrate it to Windows or cross-platform. Why I'm typing everything here is you're supposed to use the same when you face this kind of interview question to give the answer with clear information. Okay, so when we open this in new version studio, now clear, right? Let's move on to the cross platform. Again, this uses .NET 8 with cross platform support. Okay, And then it is best used for automations that run on multiple platforms. That is like platform in the sense I'm talking about the OS here. The other one, the Windows supports it supports the Windows .NET 8 with Windows support, right? So whereas here it is with cross platform in the sense it could be Windows or Linux, Mac OS, or there's something called serverless execution, right? In our UiPath Automation Cloud. So it can support that as well. Yeah. Let me give you an example. A background process that processes data from an API and writes to a database. In this scenario, there's no UI to be automated, right? There's no UI process to be automated. Everything is a background process which works through APIs or some web services also in the background. So here there's no UI interaction since serverless bots cannot interact with UI. So this is ideal for cloud deployments where you don't control the OS. Okay. So let me draft the same background process that process data from an API and writes to a database. So that means no UI interaction. Why no UI interaction is supported? Because serverless bots cannot interact with UI. In such scenarios, you can go for this cross-platform compatibility option when you create the process. Okay, and yeah, that's it. So I hope you're clear on these three parts, right? The compatibility option. First one is Windows, the other one Windows Legacy and cross-platform. Okay, now let's move on to the language section. So we have two options under language, VB and C Sharp. Let us see in detail what this means. Language options. I hope you're making a note of what we are discussing through this video. Just simply going through the video may not give you 100% knowledge and we may forget what we have seen here, right? So make a note, at least not in this much lengthy note, or maybe according to your comfort you can make a simple note so that you can use that while you can refer that while you attend an interview. Okay, so we have two options under language selection. The first option is VB. Yeah, that's Visual Basic. The other one, C Sharp. VB. So historically, this is the default one in UiPath. So, but C Sharp supported for new projects. Let me give you the same. So, an example could be, so to retrieve a column value, we can use this way. Coming to C Sharp, this supported for new projects. Example, same one. You can observe the difference. Okay. Now, the rule of thumb here is you are not supposed to mix VB and C# in the same project. Okay. If you copy workflows from one project to another project, ensure they are on the same language. They use the same language, and that's where we fail actually. When we are copying some reusable file from one project which is developed in VB to another project which is developed in C#, we face a lot of challenges, and that's the reason maybe you start looking into these compatibility options. Okay. The other one is Studio Web does not support C# projects. So you can save them to cloud but not edit online. Got it? So if the organization where you work has a plan to migrate your on-prem code to automation cloud, make sure about this language, which language it has been selected while creating that project. That means a lot. Okay, let me give you the same data here, information. You cannot mix VB and C# in same project if you copy workflows from one another. Ensure they use the same language. Studio Web does not support C#. Clear, right? On high level, imagine if you want to create a Windows UI automation that interacts with Excel and SAP, then straight away choose Windows compatibility and VB or C# based on your preference. If a serverless bot that reads data from an API and updates a database, straight away choose cross-platform compatibility and C#. Okay, because common for the backend logic. And that's it. So I hope I have explained this clearly, but for your quick reference, let me share the same information on an Excel. Okay, let me differentiate this based on these options. We have free Windows default and then Windows legacy, and the third one cross platform. Okay, now which framework? We already verified this .NET 8, but it should be Windows compatible support. Okay, and this one .NET framework 4.6.1. okay, and cross platform it's .NET 8, but it should support cross platform. Clear? This is easy to understand and easy to remember, right? And that's the reason I'm sharing in this way. So supported platforms, you can guess directly. Windows, and this is also Windows. Okay, and cross-platform, this should be multiple. Windows, Linux, Mac OS, etc. Okay, now let's showcase one use case as well. Right thumb rule, UI automation, attended or unattended bots, desktop apps. Easy, right? And this one, older projects, was already deprecated. And keep this in mind, pre-2021.10 is going to be your important interview question. Okay. And then cross-platform serverless executions. Okay. I can say background process. And let me add what we can say APIs or data automations. Okay, clear, right? Let me add one more thing here, limitations. Okay. Yes. Yep. Okay, fine. Now let us see the limitations as well. So what are its limitations? Can anyone guess? Yes, you're right. So this, because it is Windows only, it cannot run on any other OS, right? Like Linux or Mac OS. So, and also it requires orchestrator, which is more than 2021.10 plus versions. Okay. So let me draft the same. Cannot run on Linux or Mac OS. And the most important thing is it requires orchestrator version 2021.10 plus. Okay. Now, and for legacy, let me just take this seat. Yeah. And for legacy, it's already deprecated. So it's not available for new projects. Okay. And coming to cross-platform, what is its limitation? It cannot be used in UI interaction process, the automated process. If you're going to automate any UI interaction based process, and this has its limitation, it cannot work. And it also requires orchestrator 2021.10 plus version. Okay, so I hope this helps you a lot. Okay, very clear, right? So straight away, looking at this, we should be able to answer the interview question. And not only that, actually, not only keeping interview question in your mind, knowing this information is very useful for you in your day-to-day life to better choose the options, better choose the compatibility options when you're creating a project. Okay, just moving on, clicking OK with the default ones leads you to the unknown issues at the other end, actually, when you're moving that project to some other environment, or when you're copying a reusable code from that project to the other project, you may face multiple issues. If you know this information, if you have this knowledge, you'll be able to chase such issues out. Okay, so that's the reason I'm sharing this information. Let's concentrate on language options as well. And first one is VB. Sorry. Then C Sharp. Okay. VB. Is it supported in Studio? Yes. What about C Sharp? Yes, absolutely. It is supported in Studio version. What about VB? Is it supported in Studio Web? Yes. C Sharp is not supported in Studio Web. I already told you this. Studio Web does not support C#, right? So yeah. And an important note is this is default historically, and I said cannot mix with C# in same project, right? Yeah. And here can save the cloud but cannot edit in Studio Web. Okay, that's the limitation here. Okay, let it be. So that's it. Though it's huge information, I just want you to understand this in detail. That's the reason I shared this data in Excel as well. So I hope this is informative and helpful for you. If you feel this video interesting and helpful, please share with your friends and colleagues. And do subscribe if you are very new to our channel and support this. And one more thing, I'm sharing interview questions or puzzles through our community. So please do visit our channel community as well regularly. Thank you so much for your support so far. Meet you through our next videos. Bye bye.